over 1.2 million subscribers on a platform that really launched because one day your wife, 5 years into your marriage, asked you a question as y'all are laying in bed.
She goes, well, tell me your 5-year plan. And she goes, I trust you with my family, my future, and you don't have 5 years planned out. I just felt so hopeless.
So your wife is the one who says maybe you should just stay at home and save us on childcare and become a stay-at-home dad.
I was more thinking about how other people would look at me, and I thought, man, that's gonna be really boring. It was really a kind of a blow to my ego.
Even in your book, Father Yourself First, you talk about this moment in your fatherhood journey of staying at home, and your wife comes home and the house is not clean, and she's like, well, what you been doing all day?
She thought in her mind, if it was me, I'd be doing way better than this.
Welcome to Vaughn Empowers Talks, where we don't just scratch the surface, we dive deep into the lives of some of the world's most influential change makers. I'm your host, Brandi Harvey. Well, today, y'all, we get to talk about some fatherhood, manhood, and all the things family. Glen Henry is the creative force behind the beloved YouTube channel, Belief in Fatherhood, where he blends humor, honesty, and hearts to uplift and inspire families all around the world. A devoted father and visionary storyteller, Glen uses his platform to champion positive parenting and redefine what modern fatherhood looks like. Beyond YouTube, he connects with audiences through social media, workshops, and speaking engagements, encouraging dads to show up with love, purpose, and presence. With this relatable voice and unwavering passion, Glen has become a leading advocate for strong families and meaningful father-child relationships. In his debut book, Father Yourself First, Glen challenges readers to reframe what it means to be a father. Vaughn Empowers Talks welcome husband, father, author, and storyteller Glen Henry to the show.
Thank you so much, Brandi. I gotta clap it up for you. That was
incredible. Come on, give me my flowers.
Thank you. I feel great being here.
Oh man, you should. I mean, let's talk about it. We were talking before.
Yes.
And what a journey the last 10 years have been with you building up this social media and YouTube presence of Belief in Fatherhood.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey. I've been held by my wife, which has been incredible. I've been supported by her. I've been lifted up by the community. It's just been really dope. So I'm really proud of us, our family, and then also our people for sure.
Yeah, over 1.2 million subscribers.
Yeah.
On a platform that really launched because one day your wife, 5 years into your marriage, asked you a question as y'all are laying in bed.
Yeah, you want me to tell that story?
Oh, baby, that's why you here to tell the story.
All right, so I'm laying in the bed, and I'm already kind of tired. And she goes, "Tell me a bedtime story." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm tired, just like you tired. Like you want me to sit here and use my creative juices?" And
see, Glen, I know y'all got kids because somebody tell me that and we laying in the bed. That's a different type of story I'm gonna be telling.
I'm saying, like I don't know. She just was like, "Yo, I want to you just talk to me." She wanted me to kind of serenade her, but I just was being lazy. So she goes, well, tell me your 5-year plan. And
wait a minute. We go from serenade you to tell you your 5-year plan. That does not sound sexy laying in bed, Glen.
Well, this is my wife. You got to talk to her about this. You know what I'm saying? These were her ideas. So I just was like, look, whatever God has for us, I just trust in God. And that was like kind of like my Christian cop-out. And she goes, I trust you with my family, my future, and you don't have 5 years planned out. And she rolled over and went to sleep.
Oof.
And I looked up at the ceiling. And it was like, popcorn ceiling. I'm looking at it, and I just felt so hopeless. I could not sleep a wink. I sat there and I got up and I Googled like, what's a 5-year plan? I didn't know what to do. And I was up for like 3 hours after that. And then I called, I texted one of my homies and I was like, yo, I need help. My wife asked me what my 5-year plan was and I don't know what it is. And he was like, meet me in my office. All right, meet me in my office on Monday. He's like a pastor. So I go to his office and he's like, so what's your 5-year plan? I said, man, I don't know. That's why I'm here.
That's why I called you.
Right. And so he go, well, what's your 10-year plan? I said, I don't know. He said, what's your 15-year plan? I'm 30 at the time, and I'm like, I know I don't want to be rapping, talking about put your hands up.
Because at the time you were a rapper. You were
Yeah.
in a group called Dream Junkie.
Yeah.
Dream Junkies, right?
Yeah, Dream Junkies. Got to get it right. The Dream Junkies. Yeah, we were doing our thing, man.
Bless your heart. Bless your wife for
Yes.
marrying you when you was a aspiring rapper.
Yeah, but she knew. You know, it's crazy. She asked me like, what? Like, I was like, what attracted you to me? You already knew. Like, I was kind of like this whimsical artist, and she was like, you know, I saw how you served people and how you had accountability. And those were the two things, like the way you, like your relationship with God, how you serve the youth, and your accountability with other men. I just was like attracted to that. And I was like, okay, but that ain't doing nothing about this 5-year plan. So I need to figure this thing out. So my homie was like, okay, so what do you want to be doing? I was like, well, I want to be telling people how great it is to be a father. Because I never wanted to be a father until I saw proof. And that just kind of came out. He was like, all right, well, how? Who do you want to be talking to? Where are these people who you want to be talking to? And I was like, well, right now they're probably in middle school because 15 years from now they'll be parents. He was like, okay, well, where's their attention? I was like, oh, it's on the internet. You know, he was like, where at? So we just named out all the social medias. He was like, how much do you want to make? It was like $300,000 a year. You know, it's like the biggest number I could think of.
Yeah.
And he was like, okay, well, how do you want to be making that money? I said, I want to be speaking, writing books. I said, okay. How often do you have to post on these platforms to build an audience that would give you $300,000 a year to, you know, speaking and writing books? And we did the math. It was like once a week on YouTube, twice a day on Instagram, once a day on Twitter, whatever. And so he's like, okay, well, if we work backwards from today.
So this is all in one day. You're sitting with your good friend, who
Scotty
obviously
James.
is a great friend.
Yes.
Who's really helping you map out this plan.
Absolutely. Scotty James, he's a pastor in San Diego. Really, really good guy. He's the annoying friend. So if you're looking for this type of person in your life, he's the type of person that asks you all the questions that you don't really want to answer. That accountability, right?
Yeah.
He kind of pokes you. But how do you know it's gonna work? What are you gonna do? You know? So I ran to him and he was like, okay, well, if you do this, it should work out. So I came home with my paper and I showed my wife. I was like, here's my 5-year plan. And she was like, cool. And that was kind of the end of the discussion. Now, she was cool with it till I started making them videos and I wasn't cleaning the house.
Because you're making these videos, and I want our audience to know, because if they're not familiar with your content, Belief in Fatherhood, you start this YouTube page and you make the decision to be a stay-at-home father.
Okay, so I didn't make that decision. Yvette, so we were pregnant. We had our first son, and he was going to daycare. I was working logistics and rapping at nighttime. I was paying enough money to kind of cover a little bit of bills, but mostly pay for childcare. Once we got pregnant with the second baby, Uriah Bo, she was like, bro, this ain't finna pay for nothing. You might as well stay home. You might as well stay home and save us money on childcare, and you could rap your little butt off at nighttime and make some money, hopefully, you know, on the weekends, because I was also a DJ.
Oh, God. You are all the things that my dad would have been like, flag on the play.
Yes. Yeah, your dad would have not let me step in nowhere. He'd have been like, bro, get out of here. Absolutely.
A rapper and a DJ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rapper, DJ, and a poet.
Bless your little neo soul heart.
Oh man, I was all dwelling. I had the beads.
Oh,
I had oils and incense in my
Run!
bag. Nag Champa. I was on it. I was on it for sure. Yeah, I you know, long beard. I used to have dreads. It was I was out there.
You was Hotep.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah, you was one of the Hotep. You was Grand Rising Queen.
Yes, exactly. Playing chess out in front of the student center in college. Don't get to me, man. I was on one. I was tripping. Yeah.
But look, so your wife is the one who says maybe you should just stay at home and save us on childcare and become a stay-at-home dad.
Exactly. So she says that to me, and I'm kind of like, I was more thinking about how other people would look at me, and I thought, man, that's going to be really boring. I was like, I don't know about that. I'd rather just try to figure out how to be successful in my job, and maybe they'll give me a promotion, because I was working on base. And it was really a kind of a blow to my ego. That felt like it was a little bit emasculating. And so I just was like, I'm not really interested in that. And she was like, come on, babe, I think you would do a good job, and I think you would. And she's really good. So she goes, you know, her last line that had me say yes was, I think our sons deserve to know what love looks like coming from a man.
Mm.
And I was like, all right, you got me.
Yeah.
You got me. So instead of, continuing to work, I left that job and I started being a stay-at-home father. We just had our second born on June 27th, 2014. And Yvette went back to work in September. So my first day as a stay-at-home father was like September. I think Riot was a little over 3 months. And I was like, this is going to be boring, easy. I'm a Sesame Street, chop up some hot dogs. I'm going to be cool. You know what I'm saying? And I think like the second week, I was like in the bathroom crying. Like the oldest is knocking on the door and the other baby's crying in the living room. And I'm just like looking at myself in the mirror like, you could do this. The amount of emotional exhaustion, that whole like script being flipped, if you're not prepared for it and you're overconfident, you're young and dumb like me, it'll be a gut check to who you are. And I realized, I don't know anything. Let me start over and come at this like I don't know anything and just start fresh and allow them to kind of help teach me.
I mean, I want you to lean into this because even in your book, Father Yourself First, you talk about this moment in your fatherhood journey of staying at home, and your wife comes home and the house is not clean, and she's like, well, what you been doing all day? And in that moment, you understand when the role is reversed and the woman is at home and the man is out being the provider in that way financially, and he comes home and he's like, well, what you been doing all day? And you're like, I've been keeping these kids alive.
Yeah. So at first it wasn't, she didn't say anything. She would just come home and look around. You know what I'm saying? And you don't really have to say nothing. I know what you're thinking. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, I dare you to say something. Right? Because I was like, you're here, your turn. Like, that's how I felt, because it was like, it was a lot. Especially because men, we don't have we don't have a lot of experience with children, babies. Like, we're not the ones people say, hey, can you come babysit?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Unless we have a bunch of little brothers and little sisters, which wasn't me, we don't really have a lot of experience changing diapers and all that stuff. So, the question was, how many times does a baby poop a day or throw up a day? You know what I'm saying? And, it's over 12. You know what I mean? Like, so you're like, it's just a lot of learning. And so when she came home and she would kind of look around, I'd just be like, yeah, it'll get better. Just give me time. And she'd be like, so did you go anywhere today? Did you guys go to the park? And sometimes I'd be like, nah, we didn't go nowhere, and we didn't have to, because I made home like really fun.
Yeah.
But early on, she definitely was having a hard time, because she thought in her mind, if it was me, I'd be doing way better than this.
Right, because she's an educator. She's a teacher by trade.
Yeah, she's a teacher by trade. She's the type, she's not just a teacher. She was like first teacher at the school, up at 4:30, in when the janitor's opening up the gate. She is staying late. She's tutoring. She's like an overachiever, helping facilitate the Black Student Union and doing ASB, a student body, whatever, I don't know, doing cheerleading, all that stuff. And I'm just kind of like, go live your heart's desire. I'll try to take care of this and then wrap my behind off after work. After you get home. And so it was a lot of judgment, you know what I'm saying? But I think what I didn't know God was preparing me for, and this is kind of Easter egg for the future, but he would be teaching me how to love her when she became a stay-at-home mom. Because later on, I could just look at her face and be like, you should take tomorrow off. It was the amount of despair in your face as a stay-at-home parent that a working parent doesn't recognize.
I want you to speak to this, because what advice would you give to, people who are stay-at-home for women that don't feel seen by their husbands as the stay-at-home parent?
So I would say, that you have to uh, do a role reversal. I think every man should spend a month at home alone with all the kids.
Mm.
I think every working parent should flip roles for a while, just so you can remember how hard the other person is working.
Yeah.
I think that does a value that does something for the family, that does something for the relationship, and it shows you how valuable that person is. I think you should communicate. It's hard to communicate that role, because it's like, I just met a couple at the mall here, and they were like, people tried to explain to us what it was like having kids, but we would have never been prepared, because there's certain feelings you didn't even know you had, especially as a man.
Mm.
And so when everything you've done is not working and the child is still crying, you get hopeless, and I only could call out to God, Lord, help me figure out what's wrong with this baby. What does this cry mean?
Yeah.
And that comes with a lot of, like, some children are colicky, and they, may have a fever, all this stuff. But the amount of now I know my children so well that, like, I come in and solve problems quickly. But when you're new, you just don't get it. So I think everybody should switch roles. I can't tell you what to say to him to get him to get it. I think if he thinks he could do better, he should try.
Yeah.
And I think that if you know that he can't do better, or you don't trust that he's going to do a good job, that's exactly where he needs to be.
Yeah.
Like I had to fail in order to realize that I didn't know what I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to fail in order to be able to see my wife as the parent she is now.
Yeah.
She has a lot of opportunity. Whenever she says I got to go somewhere, she's gone. She got to go out of town on vacation, she's gone. And I feel good, and confident as a father being home with my kids. I never have a problem with that.
Yeah. But I want you to go back before we dive into even some of the very specific stories that you give about fatherhood in the book. I want you to lean into the economic power dynamics, because you spoke to it a little earlier. Like, you had some real insecurities about that in the beginning.
Yeah, I was insecure. My wife did nothing to make me that way. I could see the level of, like, stress and, like, weight on her that, she had to go to work for the both of us. And I kind of had $1 and a dream. You know what I mean? It was, it was a sad season, because I wanted to be successful. I wanted to make money. I wanted her to feel like she could go and do anything she wanted to do without having to worry about whether or not the lights were going to turn off, And I also came from poverty, so I wasn't even trying to spend money when we had it. I'm from Baltimore. Like, we, Section 8 housing, like, we had, but I knew we didn't really have it like that. You know what I mean? And so I was always scared that someone was going to come take it from us. And so my mentality was just so jacked up. I'm sorry that my insecurity spilled out on her in that season. I think that was one of the things I realized, like, oh, this is why people want to be successful and have a good foundation before they have kids, right? This is why people are like, I'm not ready to have kids yet, because when you have to think about, silencing your ambition to feed your family, like, it's a lot. I often had to, so before I started, I've had like 27 jobs my lifetime, and I'm only 40 years old. Imagine that, you know what I'm saying? So I've had all types of jobs and all types of little things I've done to make money. So I knew how to hustle.
Yeah.
But hustling and being a safe place for children is almost like kind of like an oxymoron. It's real hard to find that balance.
Yeah. So then how did you really make yourself valuable as a stay-at-home parent? Because there was a moment when there was the real separation factor.
Separation with Yvette and the kids. Is that what you mean?
The separation factor of where you really felt powerful in your role as a father.
Oh, well, I realized that, my dad lived in California and I lived in Baltimore. I didn't have him on the daily. I would visit him during the summers, and for, you know, 6 weeks out of the summer, it was amazing. And then the 2 weeks before I had to leave, everyone got sad. So I had to kind of code switch and go back and forth. I knew that if my dad was in the home with me, he would have saved me from a lot of, my mom's immaturity, emotional maturity. I thought that anyway. He probably could have made it worse, you know what I'm saying, for all I know, but that's my thinking. Dads are valuable was the truth that I knew. And so it didn't really matter what I did as long as I was being there for the children, protecting them from like seen and unseen danger. Like teaching them how to think, giving them words of affirmation, teaching them how to say their own affirmations and stuff to themselves, giving them, overwhelming hugs, kisses, teaching them how to treat each other, pray for each other. It just was, I don't know if you can call any of that not valuable. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the foundation, right? Like family is the most important unit on earth.
Yeah.
Right. And this is our mission statement is, the disconnection of family does bring despair, right? So if we know that, then we know that as a father, I have so much power as being the foundation and just instilling them with so much confidence and care. And then the crazy thing is that they were raising me too. Like I recognized, my first viral video that went out was, the most patient dad in the world is what they called it. That's what the blogs picked it up as. And then I realized, oh, this is nice, but who cares if I'm a patient father if I'm not a patient man? Why should my patience only exist in this one form? Doesn't the world need to be blessed with patience as well? And so I realized that I needed to let these characteristics travel throughout the rest of my humanity, not just exist depending on who my kids were. My fear was that it would only exist while my kids were kids, and when they grew up, it would change.
I mean, one of the stories you tell in the book is that the children are these, I mean, they're very close in age. They kind of bag to bag to bag. Y'all was in a season, I see. Y'all was getting, y'all was getting to it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
apparently. Yeah.
And at their ages and stages, that was the amount of minutes that you would give them to fully express themselves, whatever they needed to talk about, whatever they needed to get off their chest.
Yeah.
If they were 8 years old, they had 8 minutes. If they were the 6-year-old, the 6-year-old has 6 minutes.
Yeah. That was a way, because I started working, once we started being successful with the YouTube channel, I started working outside the home in my own agency, my own office. And I would get home and the kids would need like one-on-one time. And so I would spend that amount of time with them just to get like a little bit of connection, right before bedtime. And that was valuable, but it wasn't enough. That amount of minutes, when I think about it now and I realize how much time I give now, it's not enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what people don't realize is that moment of your wife asking you that 5-year plan has now moved into the 10-year plan, 15-year plan, because you all started the channel in 2015.
Yes.
And what started off where you were not the breadwinner, you were not the sole provider, the financial provider in the house.
Yeah.
You have transformed this into a 7-figure business.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's
the patience.
That is the patience. That's my wife's trust.
Yeah.
That is favor. That is skill and talent. I always like to throw me in there because I always forget about myself. My therapist be like, man, if you don't throw yourself in there.
Yeah.
But that's also a lot of ambition. And what I've learned, the saddest lesson I've learned is that my ambition can be a terrible thing for the relationships in my home. I have to protect my children from my ambition when you have a family business. Because one time my wife came up to me and was like, you know, sometimes these questions I just get like, man, they're life altering. She goes, is our family a business or do we have a family business? And I was just like, oh my God, can I just get this paper? You know what I'm saying? Like, can we just get this paper?
I went from being a rapper, playing chess outside the
Yeah.
dorm to
Yeah,
now I'm out here making these moves.
Yeah, I had to shape shift in so many different things. And sometimes I had to get my wife's approval if it was okay. And so when I started to lose relationship equity in the home, that's where things got murky.
Yeah, because you said that you would be doing these videos and it got to a point that you really lost your children's trust because every time you came around, the kids are like, oh, here you go with the camera, and they shut down around you. Yeah.
Yeah, they would stop talking when I entered the room. You know, I don't think anybody wants to be in that position. I'm embarrassed by that, you know, and I would say ashamed, but I'm not because I've done the work to restore that relationship. And that took a lot of time and a commitment. Like, one, I had to admit what I did was wrong. I had to promise them that I would spend the rest of my life trying to get it right, ask them what I needed to do to make it right for them. And at that time was take a bunch of videos down off the internet.
So the children asked you to take some of the videos down?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which videos were the ones that...
Everything from the beginning to 2020 was taken down, and then we re-uploaded it once they said it was okay for them, and then we took down everything from 2015 to 2019.
Wow.
Yeah, and we took it down because I think that the kids are older, and now we're doing consent meetings. So before we put out a video, we sit together, we watch it, and we say, I want this part out, I like this part is too long. Like, we all watch it as a family. And then we re-upload them. So I'm giving us an opportunity to do that with the original videos that we've put out.
I think that is so cool because I think sometimes we just place our stuff on the children like they're not active participants in this home. Like, they live here too. Like, they're humans too, you know? They have autonomy. They have a voice.
Yes.
And I think your oldest son, Theo, who I told you when we were talking before, I was like, I think Theo was my spirit animal, okay? Because Theo he be doing the workouts in the homeschool workout class, in the homeschool gym class. He be having on the shades. He be having on the hat to the back. I'm like, oh, I think Theo, that's my homie.
Yeah. He's the one that he's the accountability. I don't like that weight is on him, and I always tell him, like, son, you don't have to do that. But he does notice a lot of inconsistencies. So I remember one time he was 5 years old and he walked into the garage, and this is after my wife quit her job. She quit her job. We had the baby, Anaya, at the time, and he was like, you know, you're not playing Blanket Warrior with us like that no more. He walked in and was like, you know, I think you're distracted. You're distracted by your computer. You're distracted from your family. And I think you should think about spending more time with your family.
And how old is he at this? 5 years old?
Yeah.
And he said, you distracted.
Yeah, and I was looking at him like, boy, if you don't get your ashy butt out of my garage and let me get to this paper, you know what I'm saying? But I never want to shut him down because I want him to know his voice matters. Because what we do and what I've experienced as a child is we tell children to be seen, not heard. You stay in the child's place. And then when we get to a certain age, they like, stand up for yourself.
And they're like,
and I'm like, I don't know how to do that.
I've been told to be quiet.
Yes.
For the last 13, 14 years.
Exactly. And then when we start flipping around, and then our parents are the ones that we're kind of like, no, we're not going for that. And it's a real problem when we start standing up. So I wanted to create a norm that your voice matters. And this is why early on in the videos, you would see their words pop up on the screen because people couldn't understand what they were saying because it's baby talk.
Yeah.
But I knew what they were saying because I was with them all the time, and I just translated them, but the words would pop up real big so that people, can understand what they were saying because their voices matter. Like if you're a child, your voice matters. Like that is really important for us to know, especially if you have someone that you want to come back to your home when they have the freedom to leave.
Yeah.
You got to let them know that their voice matters.
Oh, one of the stories in the book that really resonated with me, and it was about Theo.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the story when Theo wants to cut his locks.
Yes.
And you said it was emotional for me. It was liberating for him. I had to let him tell me about himself.
Yeah. He's such a good teacher. He's such a great kid. He was about to turn 7, and he was like, my hair's too long. I want to cut it. And he told me, and I was like, all right, well, let's go talk to your mom. And now this isn't just, some people are like, why don't you just cut his hair? He want his hair cut off. I spent time with him. He sits on my lap. I cut his hair. He lays down, falls asleep on my lap. I cut his hair. For me, it's bonding. He's not very affectionate.
When you're retwisting it.
When I'm retwisting his hair. So to me, I'm kind of like, this is us. This is my little thing that we have. And I felt distance when he said that. I felt like a lack of connection. And so when he told Yvette, she was like, no, you don't. And I'm like, well, let's hear him out. And he's like, yeah, I just think it's long and I'm uncomfortable.
And you're saying in the book, though, what I want people to know is in the book, when you're telling the story, you're like, it was also a way for you to, like, if something happens, like, you get to recognize him very quickly.
Yes.
When he's out in a crowd, or if he gets lost, you get to describe him, not with, like, he got hair. Like,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Have you seen a little boy with dreadlocks? That's easy. Like, that stands out, right? Especially in California where we were. And so, he wants to cut his hair. Cool. So I said, okay, fine, we'll do it. But it doesn't grow back. It won't grow back fast. You know what I'm saying? It's going to take a while. So I do this whole thing. I cut his hair. He sees himself for the first time. The way he looks at himself was shocked. And I was like, oh my gosh, I robbed him of knowing himself this way.
Mm.
Like he deserved to know himself this way.
Yeah.
And I cut his hair off. And then I noticed a birthmark on the back of his head that I never even knew he had.
Yeah.
And so then I'm like, oh my gosh, like he needed me to trust him with himself. And it took me forever to do that. I was like, I did not want to trust him.
Mm.
And then another lesson is like, okay, what else do I not know about him that he needs me to know? And will I be okay for him to change? So right after that, I've never seen this kid run as fast as he did, jump as high as he did. He started to be interested in hockey, which I was like, I hate this. Oh my gosh, I hate it, man. He's like, I want to play hockey. I'm like, man, you don't, right?
You please pick another sport.
Bro, please pick another sport because I want something that, one, I could join and play with you.
Most parents who want their children, they want a sport that they know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want something that Black people are going to be a part of. I don't want you to be the only in the room. I can't stand that.
Yeah.
And ain't no ice around here. So what are you talking about? But I'm trying to tell you, I learned so much about him watching him watch the game. We took him to a little hockey tryouts, and he's kind of suited up in you ever seen the Little Giants when they put up on them? And he looks, none of the gear fits, He looked crazy out there, but you see a close up of him watching the game and studying everybody. And he was the only person that scored that day. And so I was like, cool. And so now, an amazing athlete, plays inline hockey, wants to transition to ice, and like his hockey like enthusiasm has gotten us opportunities to work with the NHL.
Wow.
So we actually went to a Stanley Cup final game in Florida, paid for by the NHL. They brought the Stanley Cup to our house.
Wow.
The Stanley Cup is a big deal. I don't know if you know anything
Yeah,
about
no,
hockey.
I'm
Okay.
aware. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm good with sports across
Okay.
the board.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. That's
I
great.
like sports.
That's
yeah.
great.
Mm-hmm.
Sports, but hockey's just completely
Yeah, that's
different.
some other shit now, Dick.
Yeah,
Glenn.
like,
You know,
why
let's just
are
be
we
clear.
skating?
I ain't gonna watch it, but I know what the Stanley Cup is. I know the big high level stuff.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
They
But
allowed to fight. It's like some gladiator
I
type
see. I
stuff.
do like that part.
Yeah.
That they allowed to fight. I just, sometimes I just want to hit somebody.
Yeah,
You know.
but now that I'm a part of it,
You understand?
it's a great culture. It's a dope sport. I'm watching it without him. You know what I mean? So, he introduced me to that.
Yeah.
And so when the Bible said kids are a blessing, like I believe this is what he's talking about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, so much of this has been a teaching, a journey for you as learning so much about yourself. So much
Yes.
has unfolded for you in this process, especially over this last 10 years of not just doing the YouTube channel of Belief in Fatherhood, but like being a father and how
Yeah.
much you've had to father yourself
Yes.
in this process of not really having that relationship as deeply as you have it with your children
Yes.
and that you had as a child. But one of the things that you talked about in the book, you talked about this sacred circle.
Yeah.
And while you were out here being a father and learning how to father, you've had to foster a lot of relationships in your life to become the man that you are. And one of those sacred relationships was Eric Thomas.
Man. All right. So, Brandi, let me tell you, you said a lot just now. So I'm gonna back it up a little bit because having a child was an invitation for me to grow. Okay. I accepted those invitations and I am growing because I am a father. The process is fathering me. It's revealed that I'm not just a father to my children, but I have the heart of a father, which exists everywhere. So I can recognize people in pain everywhere. This is a beautiful thing, but it's also a really hard thing. It shows me that I'm immature still.
Yeah.
So I have the heart of a father. I'm called to be a father, but I'm still operating in immaturity. And I say this because lately, by the grace of God, I've been having a lot more time to spend with my father. He confides in me in ways I've never confided in him. So you watch me be jealous of my own father, that he has me in a way I never had him.
Really?
Yeah. I had to talk to my therapist about this because I was like, bro, I got to work on this because I feel immature because I'm like angry that I didn't get this covering that it flows from me so easily. And my therapist was like, both of those things can exist at the same time, but who better than you? Like, you aren't just a father because you had a baby, like you are in the work.
Yeah.
And so that is a different level of care that you can have on people that you don't even know you have access to. Which brings me to Eric Thomas. I was frustrated because I was asking a lot of older black men in my life, bruh, tell me what's coming up. Tell me what's coming up in the road that I might not know so that I can see, maybe any vices or things that come up. Like, I want to do this thing right. Help me. And one of the guys who's really close to me was like, I really just think you need to go through that on your own. And the abandonment I felt when you ask for mentorship or ask for help and somebody wants you to struggle because they think it's going to build character.
I think we see it so much, especially when we look at men.
Yes.
And male relationships, right?
Mm-hmm.
Women, we can call, we are happy to chat, happy to talk. We got our bestie, we got this girlfriend who does this, that, and the fourth. We got all these compartments of women in our lives that we can call on.
Mm-hmm.
And men, you all really do not have that same experience.
I think the generation before us, they not a lot of them have that each one teach one.
Yeah.
There's a few, but it's not something that comes standard. I think the generation that we have now, the peer mentorship, is incredible. So that's one thing that happened. So I'm hanging out with ET. I'm getting on his nerves. I'm like, bruh. And he didn't say this. I just feel like I'm, getting on his nerves.
But this was not the relationship that you all have when you tell the story in the book.
Okay, yeah.
It was random. Like, you were listening to Eric Thomas. He was a motivator for you.
Yes.
You playing his videos.
Mm-hmm.
And then...
Okay, I'll tell you. So my wife goes away for a deep therapy intensive. She's gone for 3 weeks. I'm by myself. We have a nanny, but I'm by myself, 4 kids. She set me up for success. Everything was labeled. Everything was out. But when she said she had to go, she was struggling with depression in a dark way, and I didn't know how to serve her. So I was scared for her because she told me that she was going to a cabin out in Washington, and she was going to be in the woods with a therapist. And I was like,
Who these people? What is this?
Exactly,
what is this
exactly.
Shit?
So
What
this
is this shit?
so this is the thing. It's like I seen you GPS ain't your thing. Like, you need a compass bad. Like, you need a whole GPS situation. So I'm nervous for you to go by yourself. So this was something that, my wife was starting. So this is what happened. My sister died.
Yeah.
And my wife was starting to feel jealous because my wife was having depression deep. And so I was like, well, I'm grieving. My wife is grieving, but the grief felt familiar. And she was like, I'm having a hard time. I need to go away. And so it was so tough because I'm grieving my sister and my wife is having these dark times. And she's like, I got to go see a professional. And I just was like, this is like a Christian therapy thing, but I still don't trust them people. I was like, you're going to come back all confused.
You're going to be talking about, I want to give up on this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't really trust this, but if you feel like you need it, I have to trust you with yourself. Same lesson Theo taught me with his hair. I trust you with yourself. If you need to do this, go ahead and go, but I'm going to be mad about it. I'm going to be mad. I'm going to do a little tantrum.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not in front of you. I'm going to wait till you leave.
Yeah.
So I was listening to one of Eric Thomas's videos, and CJ was talking about, CJ is one of the guys on the podcast. Amazing man. And CJ was talking about something about the plan may change, but the mission stays the same. Mm. Sometimes the people that you have planned to do your work with, they don't do the work with you. They don't end up staying on the ride, but the mission is still the same. And I just like, man, I hit him up. I was like, yo, that's so encouraging. I'm anxious. My wife just left, and I need some encouragement. Thank you. So he calls. So he goes, all right, cool, thanks. Then I get a random number FaceTime me. So I'm like, man, who is this? Who's randomly FaceTiming me? That's crazy. So I'm like, I'm not answering this. So then it does it again, like back to back. I'm like, that's so weird.
This might be my wife calling.
I'm thinking Yvette's calling me. I think she's unsafe. And I'm like, oh, man, maybe she had to get to a phone.
Yeah.
So then I try to answer her, and then it rung a third time. And then it's E.T. Just on the phone, in the mask.
FaceTime.
Just going in. Hey, man, I heard you need encouragement. I heard you was feeling anxious.
So he talks like that in real life. Okay.
Oh, man. I'm telling you exactly who he is.
Yo.
Is exactly who he is in person. So I'm like, yeah, man, like, yo, this is crazy. Why you calling? Like, he was like, yo, CJ told me you need encouragement. You were anxious. Let me tell you something. We shouldn't be anxious about anything, but let me tell you, I know that your wife went away, and I'm proud of her for going to do that work. You always want your wife at 100%. You don't want her at 40%. She can't help anybody right there. You want your best player on your team at 100%. So let's get her back to 100%, and it will work on you. You're going to be fine. And that was like the beginning. That's how we started our relationship. Turns out E.T. has a home not too far away from me. So he was like, yo, we can go for a walk in the morning if you want. I'm like, bet. So I gotta get up. He wake up at 3.
Yeah.
So I gotta get to his house when he's ready to walk, which might be 5:30. So I'm at his house 5:30. We walking around the neighborhood. We talking, and I ask him the same question I asked those black men. And I go, yo, I'm giving away the book now, but y'all go buy the book. You know what I'm saying? But look,
No, you are not giving away this book. As a person who read this book,
yeah.
I think it is so helpful. So you're
Okay.
not giving this away.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But this was an important message that I really need you to know. So I said, E.T., I've been asking black men this question. Everyone says they don't really know what to tell me. And he goes, I can't tell you either. So I can't tell you what's coming up. I don't know. I can't predict the future. He said, but I know who does know. The men that you may not be able to kick it around because you're so busy being successful. He said, those men in your life, your sacred circle, you need to stay connected with those men. He said, they know things about you that they're going to be going through at the same time you're going through them. And so you need that support and you need that care. So don't forsake your sacred circle. And I was like, bet.
Yeah.
So I called those dudes that night, and I was like, yo, every Wednesday we're meeting at my office, 7 o'clock, pool, fellowship. And we have been doing that, you know what I'm saying, for like 2-3 years after that. I moved away, moved to the farm, and so we haven't been able to keep it up, but I just talked to them this morning, you know what I'm saying? So don't forsake your sacred circle with the message.
Yeah. I think there's so many lessons in this book. I think that for every men's group, for every boys organization, if you work with young men, if you are a father, if you plan to be a father, I think this book is such a great tool.
Thank you.
For anyone, because there's so many lessons. And I know I got the pre-copy, so I know there's probably a few adjustments to this book.
Yes.
Since it's been dropped this week, but I think it's a fantastic tool. And I think I want you to give our audience just that one nugget. If you could give any father, if you could speak to any man who was a father, what is that one nugget that you would give them to take on their journey?
Yeah, I feel like the one thing I would say is, one, you don't have to be what you had. And you deserve to be the same father your children have, or you want your children to have. You deserve that same covering. And so a lot of the things that you are going through and you're experiencing, you can reframe your inner voice to be the father that you deserve, you know? That's what I've been working through. I refuse to let like that toxicity spill onto my children. That inner voice is dark. It was a combination of my negative thoughts as a suicidal child, some of my mother's hurtful vernacular, my father not being home with me, and just that made me feel like I wasn't valuable. And so those are the things I've been telling myself for the past maybe 35 years. And so the thing is, I'm going to grow. My kids are going to get older. And because they're not kids anymore, that same inner voice is going to spill out.
Yeah.
That's how I'm going to talk to them when they get older.
Yeah.
Because I don't have it under control. And so now I have to take captive my thoughts. I had to cast them aside. I have to re-encourage myself and like really talk to myself as a child. Son, you're going to be okay. You're going to go to this interview with Brandi Harvey. You're going to have a great time. The staff is going to be there. It's going to be nice. Like, you're going to do a great job. Atlanta's going to treat you well. You're going to have some divine appointments. And that is what has happened. You know, the fact that I can encourage myself, I didn't know I could do that. But I would never want my child to experience that voice in my head, you know?
Yeah. You wouldn't want your child to experience that voice in your head. Glen Henry, I think there's so many nuggets. There's so much that you offer to this space of fatherhood, of family, of marriage, of togetherness, of partnership. And I think our audience is so blessed by this message. As we close out, one word you're committed to in this season of your life.
Oh. Ooh. I think growing.
Growing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to grow in every area of my life, not just my relationships, but as a man. I've been blessed to have a group of men I meet with at 7 a.m. every Saturday morning on Zoom, PST. That's free. And we challenge each other. And I think that is another area that I'm committed to growing in. And like all the stages are set. I have great friends. You said earlier that, men don't have a lot of, those things. But in this season, I do. I got to shout out my homie Kariga Bailey, him and his wife, Felicia from Oakland. They live in Sacramento. Amazing fellowship. My homie Kier and Noemi Gaines, amazing fellowship. Even my brother Anthony, my brother-in-law, he's amazing fellowship and good people to hold you. At the end of the book, I talk about surrounding yourself with people that can catch you, hold you, and uplift you, like juggling. And I have that in my life, and I'm grateful.
Yeah, to catch you, to hold you, to uplift you. Glen Henry, powerful work you have been tasked to do and purpose to do in this journey of your life. I'm so excited for every door that's going to open to you and for you and your family with this book. I think it's so exciting. Thank you for joining us here on Vault and Powers Talks. Another good one for the books. Be sure to send this to someone who needs to grow a little more in this season of their lives, who's committed to growing their sacred circle in this season. Until next time, I'm your girl, Brandi Harvey. Eat well, give a damn, move your body every single day. Peace.